Hi, my name's Rab, and we're going to go over how to counter Moses grab. Just a really quick disclaimer before we start. This video is more helpful for the terrestrial creatures, as the semis and aquatics deal with Mosa in their own ways. However, we will go over things that might be helpful still, so watch till the end. For those of you who don't know already, Mosa is an apex aquatic in Beast of Bermuda's ocean and has a mechanic called grab that allows it to, well, grab other creatures. This can do three things like thrash, which does smaller damage but has more damage ticks. If they build it, asphyxiation, which drowns you with running out of air, making your stamina disappear, prevent attacking and a large loss of HP, and lastly, it can use it to just displace you to give it a better advantage in the ocean. Now that you know a bit about the Mosa and its ability, we're going to go over 6 ways to counter Mosa grab in Beast of Bermuda. For our first tip, simply don't go by the water. Now I know what you're thinking, Rav, this video already sucks, but hear me out. Think hard and long about how Mosa gets around and the risk versus reward that you and the Mosa have. Mosa on land is not great, with it being pretty slow and about as fast as an Apado if it's full speed. It has a pretty bad turn, and the only real way it's going to be able to get you if you're not sitting right by the water is if it darts, which is great if they hit, but if they don't, that can be a GG for most scenarios. Then on the other hand, we have you, which I'm assuming is a terrestrial dino, doing their best on land, and even with the aqua builds, are not going to be outswimming the aquatics, much less beating them in their own element, unless you are maybe Rex, Acro, or Koa. There's also the factor that on pretty much all the maps, nothing is really forcing you to cross the deep oceans or drink from Mosa waterholes, maybe other than Rival, which has the 2 land bridges that are pretty easy to jump over for Mosa. But other than that, there's teleporters, low tide, and many water sources in all the maps that you can drink from. Dying to grab in almost all situations for me has been because I was 1. Trying to help someone who was grabbed, 2. Me being desperate and needing to cross or drink for trials, or maybe I got in a really long fight, and finally 3. Me going the funny aqua builds on Rex, Sai, and Apado that got me in some pretty sticky situations, but I don't regret them. So next time you're crossing or drinking in a sketchy area, think long and hard about if you actually need to do it, and if you die to a Mosa, think about if it was Chrono, Elasmo, Ichty, or Lurdu, if you would have lived anyways. Tip number 2 is building Aqua, Breath Bar, and Out of Element. Of course, we can't talk about defining the aquatic realm without these 3 talents. Aqua Affinity allows you to swim faster and take less comfort damage from the water, which will allow you to swim away faster, and you will also have more control over swimming. You can also build speed to help with this as they stack. Breath Bar will make it so you can fight underwater longer, and using attacks costs less air, which you will have to do if Mosa is grabbing you. You also will naturally get more air as you grow bigger though, so don't feel too bad if you don't build it right away. I would still recommend building it though as you grow. Out of Element. Out of Element makes you do increased damage in the water, in storms, and when you are grabbed, so this is a must-have talent to counter Mosa. Not building these talents will probably mean death for you if I'm going to be honest, although some creatures like Rex can get away with this sometimes, but it's still not recommended you fight them. Tip number 3, getting fat. Getting fat does a few things for you against Mosa's grab. The first thing it does, it makes you heavier naturally, making your grab requirement higher, so you can't be grabbed if you are too heavy. If they can grab you anyways though, it makes you drain their AP faster from holding you, and finally it gives you more HP so you can survive that thrash longer. Regrettably, this does not come without some downsides though. Being fat means you don't turn very well and it lowers your comfort. You can however build strong stomach to counter this downside, but it can be somewhat expensive depending on your build. You also are slowed from being fat, and that cannot be countered by any talent at this time. Getting fat works the best on larger creatures like Apado, Rex, Para, Acro, and Chrono, who can dish out a lot of damage to Mosa as well as drain their AP. I don't really recommend doing this on the mid tiers and down like Y, Mega Rap, and Lurdu, as they are quite light already, and getting fat would probably hurt them more than anything as they capitalize on speed. Tip number 4, listening to idle sounds and moving sounds. This one sounds pretty simple, and wow, I just realized I said that, but it can help versus newer Mosa players and those that don't build certain talents. Mosa's idle is arguably the loudest idle in the game, and without sneaky, it can't be lowered. I'm going to let you listen to it for a second along with the swimming and darting sounds so you can hear what it sounds like to avoid them. Now that you know what it sounds like, I'm going to tell you how Mosas counter this without sneaky. Mosa can go into the wrestling animation to avoid the sound and still smell with keen senses to see where you are as long as you're moving. They can also strafe around to prevent the idles from happening while keeping the swimming sounds to a minimal. Overall, just keep your eyes and your ears peeled. Number 5, building slippery. This one at the time of this video is only limited to the semis and the aquatics, save for Mosa. I'm not sure why Mosa does not have Slippery, but Chrono and Lasma do. But if at any time anything is able to build this, you should be putting points into it or getting inherits when you can. Slippery is a pretty massive difference in the fight versus Mosa, making their AP drain faster, doing more AP damage, and if you can escape, lessens the damage and injury taken. There's really no downside to taking Slippery other than the fact that it can be kind of out of the way for some creatures, but a lot of them build that way anyways at some point. Number 6, building Bruiser and Stamina Bite. The last way to counter Mosa is to build Bruiser and Stamina Bite. These two talents combined counter Mosa very hard, as Mosa relies on its speed to do damage, so as you do more injury and take away its precious stamina, it will be more inclined to stop trying you, or you may even get a chance to kill it. This being said, Mosa when grabbing a creature can't take injury from what it's holding, and while Stamina Bite still works, it's heavily reduced, which sucks a lot for two of the most expensive talents in the game. It also helps if you are something that can actually do a lot of injury already, like Rex, Sai, or Lurdu. However, typically after they drop you, you can at least give them one solid hit, or if you can see them coming, you can get one in before. It also helps if your teammates build these two talents too, that way you can always rely on each other if someone gets grabbed. Okay, that's all I really have for you guys today. If this guide helped you, feel free to subscribe. If it didn't, feel free to dislike the video. And I hope after watching this video you guys don't get drowned by Mosa, or at least put up one hell of a fight.